All right, the last little bit of this project is three worksheets in the back part of the packet: routine maintenance costs, fuel costs, and registration costs for each of the vehicles. So I'm going to go through routine maintenance first. The key here with the routine maintenance is this is just um, a base calculation. So this will be for all of the vehicles. So I'm going to say this again, you only have to do this one time. And basically what you do is you start with 0 for year one, and it increases by 150% or 1.5. We're going to multiply by for year two. So if you look at this year one, you're given 0% increase, and your yearly cost is $100 for a brand new car for maintenance for the year. Maybe a couple of oil changes, wiper blade or something like that, but this is what they're calculating. So you take this $100 and then you bring that down to year two, and we're saying that in the second year it's going to increase by 150%. So you take year two and you multiply year one's maintenance cost by 1.5, get you 150, and then you add those two together to get your second year, because you're always going to include the previous year as well. It's growing by 150%, so you have to save and carry over the prior year's expense as well. So you take the yearly cost from the previous year plus the increase, and that gives you your total cost for that year. All right, so I've put an example of this in Classroom as well that you can look at, and it looks like this. This is the maintenance, and I actually went all the way down to year 4 for you to just kind of help you out. So here we are again. We're taking the total cost from year 2, which was 250, multiplying it by 1.5. We get 375. We're adding that increase to the prior year's cost, and that's getting us the total for the new one. So that for year 3, our total would be 625. And then in year 4, you're going to take 625. You're going to carry that down. We're going to have an increase of 150%. So you multiply it by 1.5. And then you're going to fill in, you're going to take the answer that you get plus 625, and that's going to give you your total for year 4. And then you continue doing that as shown on the worksheet. So you're going to go down to year 6. This will be the same for all vehicles, so you only have to do this one time, okay? All right, the next sheet we're going to look at. Close this one, get out of this one. And the next sheet we're going to look at is fuel costs. All right, so here's the fuel cost sheet. Now, this one you're going to have to do for each of the cars, so make sure you're aware of that. This one's pretty easy. You're just calculating it by the city MPG. So you find your city MPG on Kelley Blue Book. It's going to say each one of your vehicles is going to have a different MPG. They'll probably be really close to one another, but they'll be probably 1 or 2 miles per gallon off. Okay, so I used in my example here, used in my example 14 MPG. All right, so I'm gonna go back here. All right, so it's pretty straightforward. You just take 10,000, you divide that by your MPG. That gives you your total miles for the year. And then what you're going to do is you're going to multiply that by 2.55 per gallon. Make sure you're showing your work on this, and you just go right on down the line. So like I said, you're taking your average city MPG, you're dividing it by the miles per year, and they give you a whole bunch of different scenarios here: 10,000 miles a year, 15,000, 20,000, 25,000 miles per year. And then you take the total gallons and multiply it by 255 per gallon, and that's going to give you your yearly cost. So that's what it looks like for me. City MPG of 14. We take 10,000, divide that by 14. We end up with 714. We multiply that by 2.55 gallons, and we end up with a fuel cost for the year of 1,820. All right, once again, and we're taking 15,000 this time, we're dividing by 14, we end up with 1,071. We're going to take this 1,071 and multiply it by 2.55. That gives us a total fuel cost of $2,732 per year. You'll continue to do this for 20,000 and 25,000 for each of the vehicles, and that's how you take care of this fuel cost worksheet. And then you're going to make sure you put these totals in on worksheet 1 as well. The last thing you're going to do is calculate your registration. It's pretty straightforward. The sheet for registration looks like this, and you're going to assume that the registration fee for a new car costs $50 for each $2,500 the car costs. So if a new vehicle costs $25,000, the registration fee is $500. So we're just assuming you're going to pay $50 per $2,500 that your car costs. So for a $30,000 car, you divide it by 2,500, gives you 12.08, and you take that total, 12.08 times 50, and it gets you your registration costs. All right, so for the truck I was looking at, my registration costs were as follows. So paying $59,360. This is the total price with tax. It's including the borrowed. You're not subtracting anything from it. This is the total price with tax. You just take $59,360 divided by 2,500. I ended up with about 24, and then 24 times 50 is $1,200. So the registration fee on that particular vehicle would have been $1,200, and then you're going to total that up. And make sure you put that on the front page. Now you're going to have to do the registration sheet for all 3 of the cars. Okay, make sure you're showing your work when you're doing that to get full points. And then the last thing I'm going to remind you of here before I end the video is make sure when you finish that you read that page, that first page where you're putting all your totals, and make sure you're adding everything up for the grand total. All right, so the grand total, you're going to take line 7, line 8, line 9, line 10, and add them up. What this is, and you're looking at that number probably going, what is that? This is actually how much it's going to cost you to have that vehicle for the year. So that's taking into account how much you're paying on a loan. That's taking into account how much you're paying in maintenance. That's taking into account how much you're paying in gas, and that's also taking into account how much you're paying in registration. So just for that truck, 1 year, this is what you're going to have tied up in at $20,122.